This video is dedicated to Chaz Giles. He's not dead, he's just that frickin' big of a legend. Here's to you, Chaz. Hey guys, I'm going to level with you. Don't try any of this at home unless you have the confidence and the wherewithal to be able to do what I'm doing in this video. Nothing is worth losing your fingers, especially in this day and age of typing. How are you going to respond and troll to people fast enough and keep up with society if you're missing a finger?
Ryan's Mobile One.
But seriously, there's a lot of things that can go wrong. That's what this video is going to be, just kind of highlighting some of those risks, dispelling some of the things that I've learned in my experience onto you guys. I'm not in any way, shape, or form saying this is how to do this. It's not. There's other ways and things that you can do. You can use a hacksaw by hand. That's a lot safer method. Destroyed this camera, the lens on it. It's still doing okay, but watch this. You can see every little piece of metal. I hung it out, got some good shots. This video is going to be kind of long, but I think it's a good one. Cheers. Today I'm working on a 2002 Honda Civic. This thing's a classic. This is what the lower control arm looks like. Everything's insulated. This is all full of rubber. We have dampening here, here, and then we also have dampening here in this one. This one takes all the abuse. It is the Cinderella of this story. When these go bad, basically you go to turn to the left, knock, and you'll feel the car kind of settle down like, ugh. And what's happening is this is going to the extremes. That's going all the way up. This is what it looks like when it drops. You can see that there's just nothing connected. It's just trapped by that design of having metal around the outside of it. So normally you just get on this with your impact and then this bolt just drops right out and you can pull this out easy peasy. Here's what this does. Now either I'm holding the whole car up on this socket or something's wrong here. So when I zoom you in there, you can see all of that rust where material's been removed and filled in. This stuff is every bit as good as epoxy or weld between this material of the bolt and this material of the lower control arm bushing. To get this out takes some strategy because we have a rusted bolt in a permanent fastener. This isn't a nut that we can just get rid of and then just start cutting things. We do need to cut it out because there's nothing we can do to get this undone because it's so old and so rusted. We could try using a torch, but the problem with using a torch is rubber, when you torch something, it just makes the whole shop stink for the longest time. It burns your lungs. It's really bad for your health. So I don't want to get this any hotter than I need to. So the best thing to do is to just cut it. I'm going to use these. I like the little angled ones, not 90 degrees, just a little bit. I'll leave a link in the description if you want some. Helps to support making videos like this. You can see how easy this is. There's usually a whole lot of material that gets in there, and by material I mean dust. It makes these really hard. These make it really easy. In a working day you'll pull probably 20 or 30 of them at least. Use safe practices when you do this. Use manufacturer's directions. You can see I've got an exposed blade. That is not safe. That is not okay. I've practiced with one and I wear heavy duty gloves and I've got the safety glasses on. This is how I prefer to work. I feel safest when I do it this way. Basically everything throws off of the disc. This is the plane of harm's way. This is where I am. Use the best discs that you can, because if these discs break, it can fly off and hit you in the face and impale you. Danger, in case you're wondering, is this can kick back and hit you in the face if you hit something wrong. My face is not right here. My face is out of the way. I've got long gloves, so if I do get touched or nicked, I don't get hit by it. And I'm expecting it to kick back at any moment. My left hand's high on it for leverage, bottom hand's low on it on the trigger. And I've got my arm at an angle. I'm not working like this so that if it kicks, it could get me. If you've got the constitution for it, Google angle grinder injury and have a puke bucket handy. You hear that pop? That's a good sign. I'm also strangling this thing like a blood choke out a tiger that's trying to kill me. There's a lot going on off camera that you don't see as I'm putting this out to you. I gotta tell you, it is so easy to get complacent with one of these because it cuts so smoothly and so nicely. I mean, it's like a laser or something. and it's no back pressure, none at all, and then it'll bind on something, like say it's curving into the work because it's hitting on this, curve into the work. You can see I'm doing that because it's taking stuff off the back. And as you do that, it'll catch, and then all of a sudden, bam, because of the RPMs, it'll translate that to torque immediately, kicking it back at you, and you'll be off guard. You got to strangle grip the thing the whole time you're working with it. It's better to leave your guard on. Trust me, you don't want to lose a finger. It's hard to get that put back on. Very expensive. You gotta be careful not to cut into your host material either. I got a little too far into that. I nicked it just to paint. And one last thing I'd say is, as soon as you saw this go pop and come undone once I got so far, if you do that on something like this, it's got a CV axle and a strut and all this other crap that's kind of holding it rigid where it is. When all that lets go, it can move and bind this and throw pieces of this off that can hit you too. Leave your guard on unless you really understand the risks, and I mean really understand them. But bear in mind, if they were to use anti-seize compound, it's the paste that you put on the bolt at the factory, none of this would be necessary whatsoever. And we will be using anti-seize when we put this back together. As a mechanic, everybody has really strong opinions. There's danger, there's frustration, there's all this crap surrounding what we use, right? And there's things that work and things that don't work, and we have a really frustrating time. Well, I'll never use that again. Or we'll have a really frustrating thing, and then some particular product or whatever saves our butt, and we're just like, oh my gosh, I'm going to that every time now. This particular product, unfortunately, is not available in stores, which sucks. That's the only way that you can get this. It's the XPL. If you see this on it, it's good stuff. Forget about all the green stuff, forget about whatever. XPL is freaking awesome. I want that lubricant all in between those threads and chewing up the rust going in and out. We don't want this to break later, so we can only do this so many times. Leave a little bit sticking up. I'm going to cut a slot in the top to use a screwdriver to drive it out. Bear in mind, this is advanced, really stupid, high-risk stuff. And so I'm trying to paint a picture where you understand the risks. So I'm going to go this hand first. I don't want my thumb that close to it if it kicks back. So I'm going to go this way. I'm going to have it so I ground the machine out here. So if it kicks back, it doesn't have any room to accelerate. And here we go. And cut a slot for a screwdriver. Bear in mind, I've got over 30 years of experience doing this too. If you go to a surgeon, they're doing something that's really risky. They're doing something that's really dangerous, but they've got control and all that kind of stuff on their side. You guys are like, it's not freaking rocket surgery. No, it's not, but you'll need rocket surgery on your hand if you screw it up. So we're just going to paper clip bend this back and forth until failure, and then pull the rest of that off. Alright, so we're going to undo the ball joint. Just pull out the pin. It's got a little retention on it. Take that out. I don't just like grunt and then take the bolt off. If you smack those hard enough, it comes out around for just a moment. And if you have a little gravity or a little weight on it, it makes them come undone. Apologize if you get some flares that look like that. I actually ruined the lens of my camera on the grinder shot. I'm trying to do better shots and better cinematography. Man, it's brutal on a camera. All I'm worried about is control arm, so I got to do this. There's an Allen bolt thing here, so I just line that up in there. And if you want this to work, is hit it with an impact to break it free. The whole thing will spin because there's a ball and socket back here, and with this being rusted, you're in trouble. I wire brushed the crap out of it and used a lot of this lubricant. You set this to tighten because we want to send the screw through the nut this way. Set this to loosen. I can just pull on this now. Just getting rid of everything that's attached to this control arm. See how everything's moving together now? And it still isn't easy to turn. So we put this in there and we'll ground that up against the control arm till it binds, and break it free. And then if I were to attempt this without having done all of the brushing and cleaning and whatnot that I did before that caused this to loosen up, this would snap off or fail, or I'd have to replace it. But typically you'll just want to just cut these. Just use your same angle grinder, cut behind here, cut through here, and then just get rid of it and put in a new one. It's good to know how to salvage it if you need to or really want to. So just wiggle that, pull this off. I made that look so easy, but now you have the secrets that I use. The only other thing that's holding this control arm in is this bolt right here. Let's pull it out. Get this on there. Now if this other one had done that, this whole job would be over before it even began. But because the other one's in the front and gets more exposure, water hits it and sinks into it, this one is more protected. In case you're wondering if you have to destroy one of these bolts, it's 91 millimeters up to the taper, 94 total from here to the stop. It's a 14 by 1.5. I had to go to the dealership in Salt Lake City. There's nothing there. That's a piece of metal on my lens now. So I've got that going for me. So we're going to turn this around this way. I'm going to get a cut in on that. And remember, all of this is just order of operations so that we can get this out and the rest of it out safely. This is in the way from making my cuts where I need to make them. So the kickback on this is to go up. I've verified that there's nothing flammable, dangerous, or whatever, and all my sparks are going down. To be continued. Oh man, we're gonna have to pick up the rest of this on Wednesday. Here's a little snippet of what you can expect. We'll just have to try and find out what happens. So we'll rotate it around, we'll cut it some more. I was just about to say we're gonna kick. And we did, more than a few times. Tune in Wednesday to see how that went and show you how to put these in right to where it does well for your alignment.